Welcome, everybody. I am Darren Root, and I have John Mitchell with me. So welcome, John.
Darren, good to see you.
Good to see you. Just a little background from each of us. I am the CEO of Rootworks. I run Rootworks. We're a division of Right Networks today, and I ran an accounting firm for 30 plus years. Rootworks is a network of 800 plus accounting firms across the country, getting better together. And John, you and I have worked together for a number of years now.
Yeah, and I think part of what makes us good together is that I really don't have any kind of background like you do. Mine's totally different. My background is in art. I owned a production company, video production company for years, and believe it or not, in preaching. I'm a storyteller. I'm a communicator, and so Darren and I spend a lot of time in thought leadership around the industry, but also just in developing new ways to think about what we do for our members. So a little bit about what you're going to hear from us today is coming from an aggregate of thinking from, Darren already said it, around 800 firms. And we get a chance to not only speak to them on a regular basis, but then also to hear from them. So a lot of what you're going to hear today is a lot of things that we're helping our firms with as well.
All right, John, we're going to talk today about a 2021 strategy reset for accounting professionals. You and I have talked a lot about this, about the opportunities that are right in front of us right now to really reset your whole strategy for your accounting firm.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for not only you as an accounting firm owner or a staff member, just you as a human, to take a deep breath and to think about not things going back to normal, because I'm not sure they ever will, but about how we're going to address our firms and our lives in 2021. So we've got an idea. I'm excited to get to share 4 of them today.
I know my personal life has shifted a lot, John. I think yours has too. But
yeah.
For 30 plus years, I got up every single day on autopilot, went to the office, whether I had to or I didn't have to. I was in control, so I didn't have to, but I just did. Every single day I got up and I went to the office and I put a full day in, and there was days at the end of the day when I was tired. I didn't feel like working out, or I was eating not the right things because my life had just become that routine. And I think a lot of accounting professionals can relate to that. And we were also in this, was in this cycle of letting clients kind of do what they've done for years and years and years, with this idea that I was just going to try to bring them along slowly into the new world. And all of a sudden, about March 15th for us, just everything changed. And, we all went home to work, and, I've created a new life around that at this point. When I exercise, what I eat, when I work, how I work, where I work from, there's this opening up of clients, because everybody's done the same thing. So clients all went home, at least to a large degree. Our staff went home. So just everything changed, and everyone became pliable, if you will.
That's the word I like.
Yeah, everyone became open to this new world. How about you, John?
Yeah, and I think it's that pliability that we've been talking so much about. We certainly want to be careful with the words we choose around the pandemic, but it really is an opportunity for firms to think through the things that they've always done, maybe because of expectations, maybe because we've heard it a lot, well, my clients would never, or my staff would never, or, well, now people are more pliable than ever. And it's time to take a look at our firms and recreate them in a lot of ways, pull some of the things that we wouldn't have ever chosen, that our firms just sort of drifted into, and add some things that are more intentional and will meet people where they are. So
as we talk about a 2021 strategy reset, instead of a 2020, the way I think about this, John, is, we came into 2020, and, I was turning 60 in 2020. So I had high hopes that this was a really fun year. And in some respects, it's certainly been life changing. But as we came into 2020, we kind of came in off of our normal 2019 mindset. And so our plans for 2020 were probably just to do a little bit more of the same.
Yeah.
And so we got about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way through busy season. And, all hell broke loose. Just everything changed. And so we had to go through this cycle or this period of adapting, just really quickly trying to adapt. And tax season got extended and arguably just ended, in October. So the year has been tumultuous, to say the least. So now we've learned a lot, and we're looking out now into 2021. And so we believe that there's this opportunity right now, before year's end, to look out and say, what is 2021 going to look like? How do I want based on everything that I've learned, what do I want my firm to look like going forward? And I think we're really going to look at this, John, from 4 different perspectives. Meeting this new client expectation. I don't think any of us listening to this today would argue that client expectations have shifted. Second, we're going to talk about moving from being reactive to proactive from an advisor standpoint. I know everyone has heard this idea that we, as a profession, need to become better advisors to our customers, and we're going to talk about that. And then I want to spend a little time talking about making a holistic firm, connecting the front office to the back office. And you'll understand what we might mean by that here in just a little bit. And then lastly, and this is, John, this is your sweet spot. This is where you smile, it's coming.
Leave me some time, Darren.
Building an irresistible place to work. This is what you're passionate about. And so I'm excited to talk about that. I mean, we should not have hiring problems in this profession because it's such a great profession. And if we do this right, we won't have hiring problems. So does that sound okay today, John?
Let's do it. Let's jump into that first one.
Let's jump into meeting the new client expectations. When we started this year, I suspect that most firms had a number of clients who dropped things off at their office, handed them paper, probably got a paper 8879 back to stop back by and sign, and probably hadn't been introduced to Zoom much. The firm probably wasn't using Zoom much, or any video conferencing platform for that matter, to meet with customers. Payments, mailing checks. I don't know about you, but boy, back in March and April, the idea of even touching paper that had been dropped in was kind of foreign.
Yeah.
Or not foreign, but it was a little. I think we didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just crazy to look at this picture right here, which is one of my favorite pictures. To think about, just to think about how the lines between commerce and our lives have started to blur. We do our shopping online. We want to sign things online. We want to be able to not be in with people more than we have to be. So we want to sit with our dog and Zoom more than we want to be in people's office. And it's time for firms to make that shift, to make sure. It used to be a nicety. It used to be something that just made you look modern. Now it's become a necessity. We have to move this direction.
And even if you look at, John, the new announcement of the iPhone from Apple.
Yeah.
We're both Apple.
Yeah.
But the iPhone 12 Pro Max, like it's pure. It's a computer in your hand.
Yeah.
To do about anything with, and that's where I find myself doing more and more and more things. Is in my pocket, and so let's just talk about what these expectations are, John. The whole idea of how you book appointments today. Let's think about how we can make that easy. John, do you have any great experiences in appointment setting at this point to share with people?
What's crazy is my best experience is with my my hairstylist. I love my hairstylist, Roberto. You talk about a guy. he stays up with things, man. And you talk about a guy who's ready for the experience. I had my haircut, for the first time. I looked really bad after the pandemic, and he's got it all figured out. I don't have to call Roberto. I don't text Roberto. It pops up on my phone. He's got an app that pops up on my phone and says, "Hey, you probably need a haircut. It's been a while since I've seen you." And I get to choose from a list of dates he has available. I just show up. And that's what I expect. I'm not ever going to Great Clips again because I have a much easier way to do it. And that's probably my best experience right now.
I do almost anything not to pick up the phone and call somebody anymore. I don't know why that is.
Yep, me too.
I don't think I'm going to get in touch with them, and then it becomes this whole thing. And
Yep.
I can do it on the app. Imagine getting a notice from your accountant, post January 1st, 2021 that says, "Hey, we need to get your tax return done. Click on this link, book an appointment. We'll do this via a video meeting.
Yes.
We'll do this via Zoom. And if you need me to help you, show you how to digitize all your documents so that you can give them to me via digital, we can do that. Or I can have somebody on the team do that." What a great experience that would be. So think about that. There was the day, John, when we used to debate in this profession, well, should we scan documents up front before we start the tax return? Should we do it in the middle? Should the preparer be doing it, or should we wait till it's all over and hand it to a paraprofessional and have them scan? That debate's over. We shouldn't be scanning documents at all.
The answer is no. Yes.
The answer is no. Right now we have an opportunity. Again, we're talking about 2021 reset. We have an opportunity to shift the expectation on how our customers book appointments with us, how we handle a meeting with them, how we collect their documents, how we get signatures on those documents, and how we get paid. We have a new opportunity to do tax season differently. If you're a professional that was like I was for years, you got up every single day and you went to the office and you did tax season, and you did tax season until late, and oftentimes you did it on Sunday, and you were handling paper and trying to figure out how to get people's signatures on things and all this stuff. Arguably, you can do tax season on a beach if you want to, if you have these tools in place. Don't you think, John?
Absolutely, and we're seeing it happen. I mean, this is not a pipe dream. We're seeing people choosing a new way to do business. And I think the thing about this list of experiences is that, Darren, it wasn't a year ago where we were trying to convince people that this was going to someday be the new normal. And now, all of a sudden, this is table stakes. This is not just a matter of choice. We're going to have to move here.
We've been talking, John, for the last 5 years that these are capabilities that firms should be working on. And then overnight, it became table stakes. This has to happen. So what I want you to be thinking about for 2021 is, how do you modernize these 5 things?
Yeah.
And then how do you also modernize them around the service offerings that you're offering? Yeah. So as we looked at the 5 things that we just looked at, whether it was appointment setting or payments or document collection or any of those things, how do you do that around your accounting offering? So if you're offering accounting services to clients, how do you mobilize that? How do you digitize that whole thing? How do you do that with payroll? I mean, imagine if you're an employee right now, John, do you want a paycheck stub mailed to you, or you want to get a paper check? I mean, how do we standardize everything around payroll so it all shows up on somebody's phone and says, "Hey, you just got paid, and here's your mobile check stub"?
I can't imagine ever going back to check stubs on paper or PDFs. I mean, now I get every other Friday, mine pops up and says, "Getting ready for payday," and I can search everything right there. When my banker needs something, I can forward him straight from the app. I mean, I would never want to go back to that experience.
And we just talked about tax preparation.
Yeah.
I mean, resetting expectations around how tax season is done. Now's the time. Every client, John, I'm going to keep going back to the word, it's pliable. Everyone is pliable right now, what that pliability means to you as a as a firm owner or as a firm staff person is freedom. You get to do your business the way you want to. You just have to think about what that is. That's why we're talking about this 2021 reset, because think about it as the opportunity to build the business the way you want to build it and have the freedom to move between locations, time of day, all that stuff that you really want.
This is how we make this practical for between now and next tax season. I mean, you are right now at a time where you're taking a deep breath as a firm. Take these 5 things or add this extra services or subtract whatever you don't see here. Take the previous screen. You're going to get a PDF of this. Sit down with your staff and clearly articulate, where are we now with this? How do we, could we do better? If we're already using these, what percentage of our clients are on them, and who should we be moving to make sure that we're taking this opportunity while people are pliable? Use this chance now so that 2021, you're ready for a whole new way of doing business.
If you do nothing between now and the end of the year, your practice is going to stay right where it's at.
Yep.
If you can take the time to sit and think about this mobile experience across your service offerings and really work with your team, work with other thought leaders in this space to figure out how do you mold this practice to be mobile friendly, you will be light years ahead going into 2021, and you will provide more freedom for you and your staff as you move forward. The second key thing, John, I think we want to talk about today is this idea of moving from a reactive to a proactive advisory practice. I think this one's critical. One of the things that we learned earlier this year, I think at Rootworks, we've been preaching this for at least 3 years because we've been building some technology around this to help firms do this. But when firm owners, I think, should have really resonated for them was this year during the PPP. So what happened during the PPP, the payroll protection program, for those that weren't involved with this, but this was a big deal. The government essentially approved $2 trillion and said we've got to figure out how to get this in business owners and individuals' hands. And as firms, what we did is we said, hey, we should be proactive. We should reach out to our customers and talk to them about PPP because they may think it's complicated. And we should even go as far as putting together a product to help them do that. And so I know in our firm, John, we reached out to every one of our business clients, and we had a product that was to help them with get their PPP dollars. I can't remember a time in the last 30 plus years that we received more thank yous from our customers for being proactive.
Yeah. For
reaching out to them, for taking care of them, for them feeling taken care of.
Yeah.
We had relationships with the banks in town. We knew every single customer needed this, and we leaped into action. And
yeah.
John, you heard it from a lot of the firms that we helped do this for too.
I did. And what it did was it gave them a new energy for what I've just been thinking of as a new posture for their firm. I think the word posture is so important, and maybe this is really important for your firm today to think about what is our posture towards our clients. Are we sitting back in our chairs, like leaning back, waiting for somebody to call us? Or are we leaning forward, looking for, almost like Roberto, my hairstylist? He could be waiting for me to call him, or he could send me an automated text that says, dude, your hair has to be getting long. It's been a while. And now I've got it. That's what I want. That is modern customer service. And for so long, firms have been reactive, and it causes anxiety. It causes angst. It causes you to do things you wouldn't normally do, react in ways you wouldn't normally react. When you move forward, when your posture is facing your clients instead of waiting on your heels, it changes the culture. It changes the intensity and the fun that you have as a staff as well.
I suspect that most firms, John, don't even realize that their DNA is reactive.
Yeah.
because they've been reactive for so long, and
Yeah.
there's so much work available, even by being reactive. Let me give just a couple of examples. Um, I need to get my tax return done. That's reactive. I'm waiting for somebody to come in, and I react to that. Or I need to get a new loan for my company. That's again being reactive. Or, hey, I need payroll. Again, reactive. Every service offering that most firms that we see have been providing have been reactive services. So the question is, what does it take to go from being reactive to proactive? So in Roberto's situation on your hair, John, to me, Roberto, what he needs to, what he knows is every 3 weeks, John, or every 4 weeks, whatever the number is, it's time for you to get a haircut. So he has some information. He knows when you got your haircut and when the next, when the 3 or 4 week cycle is, and he lets you know. Well, as an accounting firm, let's start thinking about what it is that we need to know to go from being reactive to proactive. We know when payroll is for each of our clients, it's every 2 weeks. We could reach out to them. We know which one of our clients are using QuickBooks Desktop and giving us backup files. We could reach out, we could be proactive and lead them. Let me give you another example that's a little bit more in the weeds. Let's assume for a second that you knew that you had a client that was a partnership and that you had a data point that said that this partnership did not have a buy-sell agreement. And then let's extend that data point and say, we know since they don't have a buy-sell agreement that buy-sell agreement's probably unfunded or doesn't have life insurance attached to it. If we really start collecting data points around our customers, that's what it is, John, that allows us to go from being reactive to proactive. That's what allows Roberto to go from being reactive to proactive. If I knew I had a partnership and I had the data point that said they did not have a buy-sell agreement and it was not funded, there's 2 products I could sell to them. I could reach out to them and say, hey, partners, it feels like we need to be doing a buy-sell agreement. Absolutely. Can you help me with that? Would be what the client's response is. And we could say yes, whether that's a relationship with a law firm or we have a product to help do that ourselves. And then the second product is we should fund that with life insurance. Whether we're in the life insurance business or not, it's not relevant. We might have a relationship with a life insurance agency to get that done. But that's how we start being reactive or proactive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what we're trying to do is to get, and maybe this is a good thing for you to think of right now. We're trying to get you to think of and kind of see the data that's swirling around your firm right now. It's all over your firm. We want you to kind of to be proactive. It takes the bridge of data to go from reactive to proactive. So if you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, how do you do this? The answer is data. And it's already all over your firm. Roberto knows the other thing he does is he sells me this really expensive hair gel that I use. I can go to Target and buy it for $6 and I can buy it from him for $28. He knows I go through it in about a 6 to 8 week period, and he orders it and has it waiting, sitting for me. He's got that written down somewhere, and he knows that that is proactive service. And I pay the $28 because he's ordered it and I love it. That's proactive service, but it takes that data. And so that's kind of how we came to Client View, just trying to find a place for people to be able to see the data that's going around their firm and absorb it and record it.
The key is data. The bridge between reactivity and proactivity is data. There's data all over the firm. And it's that data that allows us to really serve clients' needs well and create a better customer experience. So I think all of our firm owners would understand that there's data all over their firm, whether it's with your bookkeepers or your payroll people or your tax people or with the partners, there's data everywhere. What we need is a place to capture that data. So John mentioned a tool called Client View. This is an application that Rootworks has built, and it was designed to collect data. So John, if we go to the next screen real quick, I can kind of show what I'm talking about. So I'm in our Client View screen right now, and you can see that blue line above details. And details is where we start capturing some of that data. You'll see also there's a technology tab up there, and we're not going to show that right now, but if I was on technology, it would be all the technologies that our clients are using. So an example of that would be, I have a technology which is QuickBooks Desktop, and I can track whether I get a backup of that or if it's located out in the cloud somewhere, like on a hosted QuickBooks session with Bright Networks. I can track all of that. Once I have the data, I can start moving clients into the business model, into the tools that I want to move them to. On the details tab, I can start collecting that information, like, what type of entity is this? Do they have a buy-sell agreement? Maybe do they budget? I mean, if you're not budgeting right now, with all the financial crisis that's going on, there's another opportunity. So if you think about this a second, for every data point that we collect information on as a firm, that's an opportunity to sell a product. That's why I say this is gold, John. You remember the whole Seinfeld episode where this is gold, Jerry? I can't
It's gold, Jerry.
But the idea, imagine the revenue that's sitting in your customer base, that if you can capture the data and start filtering and sorting the data, that you can start reaching out and being proactive to move your clients the direction that they should go. And again, I'm going to reiterate, we know this is exactly what clients want, because this is what we did with PPP.
Yeah.
We knew they needed something, and we had a product for that, and we reached out to them, and it was one of the best experiences.
Yeah. And it starts with a leadership conversation. This is really about leadership. If you walk away from, this session and you're like, yeah, I got to get data, and you just start collecting it on your own, you're probably missing most of it. Because the truth is, it's got to be a cultural effort. It's got to be something that you tell your staff, and that's why it needs to happen while you've got a deep breath right now in your firm, to say, guys, we are going from reactive to proactive. We are going to change our posture. We need everyone to be in, and data is how we're doing it. So I need you to capture things. I need you to write stuff down. I need you to find a place to put this stuff so that we can act on it. And that's what makes us proactive.
Well, the idea of client view is every time a piece of information comes in, you collect it, right? You have a place to collect that, and everybody gets this. So, John, I'm just going to go back a second. So, reset 2021. We've got to be thinking mobile tools first, right? And across all of our service offerings, we have to second be thinking about going from being reactive to proactive and being data first inside of our firms. I think the third point we want to talk about, John, is how to connect your front office and back office. And front office is probably a new term to a lot of our listeners today. And so let's just start out by walking through this concept of front office and back office. Historically, I think firm owners get the whole back office piece. Back office has been all the tools that have been around the profession for a long time. I mean, they've certainly changed a little bit, but largely, it's our tax software, it's our document management software, it's our practice management, all those tools that we've used forever. But front office is really a new space, a new way of thinking about your firm, which is, firm website first. Where think about your own behavior. Where do you go when you want to interact or learn more about a company? It's their firm website. We'll talk more about that in a second. How do we get our voice out there? How do we attract more customers? How do we retain customers? How do we create a bigger brand awareness component? And then how do we just manage all this data like we talked about, John, and turn our solutions into products that we sell to support all those data points? That's what we mean by firm management. This is the whole front office piece. John, just talk a little bit about firm website and some of the components of this. This is right, with your background, this is right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, this is something I'm really proud of that we've been getting a chance to do for firms, and that is to help them with something they may not even realize is really driving their brand, and that is their digital front door. It is the place that people find you and see you, and it represents not only your company but you as a business owner. I mean, it's about you. A lot of firm websites that we see are very static. That means, nothing ever changes on it, and so their SEO and Google isn't where it should be. People can't find them, and it's just not a place to do business. There's nothing to do on the website. It's just basically a digital brochure. So what we are recommending, not just for right now, but for the rest of your business, is that your firm website becomes a place where your customers do business with you, where they can actually pay their bill, where they can get into their QBO, where they can get into different accounts from your website, but also where they begin to think of you as the repository for great information. So that means content on a regular basis needs to be moving on your site, and that's how you drive traffic. And of course, we get the brand awareness piece, Darren, that involves social media, which is almost a cuss word for most firm owners right now. They just hate social media, and I get it. But the idea of social media is really simple. The idea is to get people to your website. We just want to get people to the website, and that drive that traffic to right there. But it becomes your front door, which means it has to be beautiful, it has to be useful, and it has to be dynamic. It has to be continually changing and moving with content.
Yeah, I think the reason that firms are so challenged in social is because they're typically not gifted in creating the type of content that drives people to their website.
It's time consuming. It's difficult.
Yeah, it is hard to create those beautiful images and to have the right content. And then when you get people to your website, making sure it's simple enough and that content is still supported over there. And that all the tools that your firm uses are kind of integrated into that space. This is what we mean by a new front office, though, because your website is the new front door. It is the front door to your business, especially in a COVID world. But I mean, this is new normal now, guys. This isn't a fad. Your website is the place that people go. Here's an example of a web platform that we do, but you'll see this is super simple, really clean. In this particular example for modern advisors, we're saying bookkeeping services, payroll, tax, and advisory. That's essentially what we all do, right? And then we have this idea of a client center up there, or paying your bill, or getting in touch with the firm. And then how it looks on a mobile app or on a mobile device is just as important. So really you have to be thinking about your front office and how it is perceived by prospects and existing customers.
And the idea, the content, having something that flows to your social media that drives people to your firm website really is the way to get more traffic on your website. And it is just a modern way of serving your current customers and potential customers.
Yeah, the way you grow your firm is by having really elegant, simple, easy to read content that is either used in email marketing or out in social. You drive people to your firm website, you give them an opportunity to fill out a get in touch form, and then you have an awesome response system to that, customer onboarding, and you just create a great experience. I mean, this is just the way business is done today. We just haven't done it this way in accounting firms. John, if you go back a couple of slides to our front office, back office, I think the key takeaway here for 2021 is that your front office and your back office should all connect. We've given you a list of a lot of tools here that would run most modern accounting firms, whether it's miscellaneous tools like Calendly for appointment setting, or Slack for internal communication, or Zoom for video conferencing. We've tried to give you a look at all kinds of tools that make your front office and your back office come together in a seamless way, all in the cloud. So everything in this modern firm example here is all cloud-based. Whether that's your tax software like Lacert or any other tax software that you're using, it should still be hosted or in the cloud, and this should all be connected. Rootworks has focused heavily in the tools we've created on firm website, brand awareness, and firm management, trying to create a space for you to do the front office piece and then connect it to the back office. So again, as you think about a 2021 reset, you should be thinking about your firm from a holistic perspective and what that prospect experience and customer experience is like across your entire firm. Well, let's talk about an irresistible place to work, because none of this stuff matters if we can't get people working with us.
It's absolutely right. And you already know that. One of the comments we get from our members, especially as they come into Rootworks originally, is that their biggest struggle is staffing, either getting new staff or taking care of their current staff, and the churn inside their facility. And what we're learning is there is a way to be preventative, proactive again with that. And that's about developing and thinking through what it means to work at your firm, and developing a culture that allows people to think about their job as more than just a paycheck. It's interesting. We are all seeing differently right now. We are all going to see differently because of the pandemic and the new way that we see the world. We're going to see all of these products differently, and we need to right now, as leaders, if you're watching this and you're part of a partnership inside your firm, or you're a leader inside your firm, now is the time to help people see things differently, to be able to see that the lines between work and life are blurring in a way, and we've got to be able to address what it means to work for your firm. If you don't, you'll know it really quickly. This is not a choice. This is something that Peter Drucker says, your culture eats strategy for breakfast. So all of the things Darren and I have talked about so far mean nothing if you don't have an effort for your culture. And what ends up happening is passive aggression, and people won't do what they're asked to do. And you can't move things forward without an intentional firm culture. We've got 4 things we talk about in terms of your culture, and I don't have near enough time to get you through them all, but we think of them as ingredients, almost like an apple tree sitting in a field. Apple tree never sits and tries to make fruit. It gets the right ingredients, the right sunlight, the right water, the right nutrients, and then one day, organically, the apple appears out of the tree. The same thing is true of your firm. You don't just try in 2021 to build firm culture. You don't just try to make things better if things have been bad. You inject these ingredients so that over time, potentially a long time, and I don't know how long, but over time, at some point, people get the clarity they need. That means they know where the firm is going and they know what role they play in it. And somebody talks to them on a regular basis about how they're doing. Everybody you pay deserves to know on a regular basis how they're doing, where the firm's going, and where they fit. That means candor. That means there aren't elephants in the room that aren't addressed. That means that leaders are saying what they feel, and employees get to say how they are feeling about what's going on in the firm. It means connection. Hard time to be connected right now, but everyone ought to be connected to the firm owners. They ought to be connected to the vision of the firm, and they ought to be connected to each other. And the best firms right now are figuring out how to maintain that connection in the midst of even a pandemic. And then consistency. It's like brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth for 2 minutes twice a day doesn't do anything unless you do it for 40 years. You need to keep at it, whatever you do. So if you walk away from this conversation, you say, yeah, John and Darren convinced me I need to make my culture better. And you include a couple things for the next couple months, and that just sort of pitters out. You aren't creating a healthy culture. In fact, you may have been better off not trying anything at all. What you've got to do is things that are sustainable, things that bring clarity, candor, connection in a way that's consistent. The truth is, the most important thing in your firm, no matter what has changed in your firm, the most important thing has not changed. And that's the human beings. That's your customers, that's your staff, and that's you and your family. Everyone, the humans around you, we say this all the time, Darren, hashtag people matter most. We know that for so many reasons. It is true of your business model. It's true of the modern firm. Human beings matter most. And if you can figure out how to incorporate these 4 things and make sure that every human inside your firm matters more than anything else, then you move towards creating a place that is irresistible to work. And that's what you need moving forward to reset in 2020.
John, I know this is an area that you're super passionate about, and that comes through. For me, I think one of the biggest challenges as firms look into 2021 is that in 2020, your team started working a little differently. You
Yeah.
gave them just a little bit more freedom. Their life and their work merged a little tighter. Things just started changing. Be careful as you look into 2021, just to try to unwind all that and go back to the way things were in 2019. Think about new ways of building your firm culture in a way that people want to work there. People want their life and their work to come together and be more seamless. They want more freedom. They don't want to go back to a firm that said you got to show up at 8 a.m. and you got to work until 7 p.m. during busy season every day and be in here on Saturday. They just don't want that anymore. So you got to figure out what a healthy culture looks like for you as you move into 2021. But be open to the idea that it looks different than it might have looked in early 2020.
Yeah. Well, Darren, we're out of time, but I don't want to miss saying this, that it is your firm and it is your choice. And if you're listening to this and it's not your firm, it's still your choice. It is your life and it is your choice. It is your work and it is your choice. This is the best opportunity potentially in your lifetime to have a pliable moment for you, for your staff, for your firm, to go back to the things you would choose instead of the things maybe you drifted into as a firm. It is your firm, your choice. 2021 is the opportunity to reset.
What does success look like out of all this? Success is when you transition from the practice that you didn't love, but that you operated, to a modern firm that your clients love, your staff loves, and you love. That's what success looks like, is you build a business that you really enjoy being a part of and that other people want to be a part of as well.
Well said, Darren. Thank you for listening to us today. We hope that whatever you took from here, it leads to that kind of success and that kind of improvement inside your firm. Good luck as you do that. We'd love to be close.
Great job, John. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Darren.